Welcome to Plan9Crunch. I'm Doug Gibson, and we're doing a B or C movie review today. And the movie is one of my favorites from 1936. It's called The Rogues Tavern. It was produced by Poverty Row extraordinaire producer Sam Katzman, but he's not on the credits. He had a company called, I think it was called Mercury back then. But this is released by Puritan, one of those wonderful Poverty Row studios that hung around for a while and then went away. It's a kind of, not really an old dark house type of movie, but it's a very windy night and all these people are gathered in the Red Rock. It's either Red Rock Inn or Red Rock Tavern. Hold on, let me see where it is. Red Rock Tavern. This book, by the way, is called Forgotten Horrors, which I recommend everybody buy. It goes all through the 30s of these wonderful obscure movies that they just devote pages to, and I'm looking at Rogues Tavern here. Funny, I got this book, Steve D. Stones, my co-blogger from Plan9Crunch, wrote, "To my good friend Doug Gibson on his 46th birthday. Happy birthday, Doug. Sincerely, Steve Stones." Well, I'm going to be 62 and 25th of September, so time does fly. Forgotten Horrors, great series, published by Midnight Marquee Press. There's like 6 or 7 volumes, carrying into even the 1960s, I believe. But back to the Rogues Tavern. It stars Wallace Ford, and Wallace Ford is a cult name. He was in Freaks. He was in some Lugosi films, The Mysterious Mr. Wong, Night of Terror, The Ape Man. And he was also in The Mummy's Hand and The Mummy's Tomb from Universal. He was what you would call a B-movie star back then. And in fact, we're going to show, well, first I want to talk about his co-star, Barbara Pepper. She was an adorable, cute blonde in the 1930s and early 40s who had kind of a sassy demeanor. The trouble was, for Barbara Pepper, where those kind of actors were pretty much in abundance in that time period. And think Linda Farrell, who was in B movies, and Pepper sort of got squeezed out to where she ended up in C movies. I did watch a movie from RKO, I think it was, or maybe it was First National actually, this morning called The Big Shot with Guy Kibbe, where she had a small role as a gangster mole named Mamie. Pepper had an interesting life. She actually was in some Harry Langdon shorts. She worked for Columbia Comedy Shorts in the early 40s. She made Blonde and Groom and Carrie Harry. Those are very obscure Columbia shorts. I've seen them because I love Harry Langdon stuff. Later, she was friends with Lucille Ball and was on I Love Lucy and a lot of TV shows. And just before she died, she was Mrs. Siffel. Is it Siffel in what's it called? Green Acres back in the 60s. But anyways, Wallace Ford is a police detective. And Barbara Pepper plays a store detective. And they're kind of a poor man's Nick and Nora from The Thin Man. And they're coming to Red Rock Tavern to be married that night. They're engaged and everything, but the minister isn't there and there's a bad storm going on. And I'm not going to mention anything else now. I want to show our first clip from this wonderful movie, okay? Thanks, Jack. I just love these. Carmel film release. Who knows when Carmel was doing this? Wallace Ford, the headliner. I told you he was a C-movie star. Mercury Pictures. Now, I don't think Mercury Pictures was in the original release. It was Puritan. You don't see Sam Katzman, even though he was the producer, in the credits. We're going to see Joan Woodbury in this film and Clara Kimball Young. I'll talk about them more. At the bottom, there's Silver Wolf, which was a dog, in the movie. Just sit back and enjoy the beginning of this film. We won't stay more than a couple minutes, but I think it's fun to look at these things, particularly if you're a film historian fan of these early movies.
Your name, please?
Wallace Ford.
Marjorie Burns.
Barbara Pepper.
Your occupation?
Well, I was a detective in a department store.
What is your name?
Jimmy Kelly. I am a detective.
At least you two should be able to keep track of each other. Yes, you sign right on. Yes.
We'd like to get married right away.
If you're in a hurry, I'm afraid you're in the wrong state. I have a friend, a justice of the peace, across the line. I'd be only too happy to send him a telegram. You want me to meet you at Red Rock Tavern.
Oh, that'd be very nice of you.
Are you married?
No, I was born this way.
I like the banter in this movie. It's not a pre-code film, but because it's very low budget, you're going to hear this wind all the time. You will see a fireplace in this film, and the fireplace was very popular. It was owned by RKO Path at their studios, and low-budget producers would rent RKO and this fireplace to shoot movies in. You're going to see a woman named Joan Woodbury. She's very slinky in this dress. Kind of, like I said, that kind of got past the code censors. Okay, Jack, I think we could probably go away right now from this one. Joan Woodbury was also in these B movies. There's a very interesting interview with her in a Cult Movies magazine I read. I can't remember what issue it is, though. But Woodbury was in a movie that cult films will notice called King of the Zombies from Monogram around 1940. And so what's happening here is they want to get married, like I said, all right? And they're sort of stuck in this place. And things are going to get a little bit dark, okay? There's going to be some murder afoot. So let's watch a second part right now, okay, Jack?
Is this better than chasing petty thieves through a department store, I ask? Yes, it sure is.
Oh, starting to answer your own questions, huh?
Now, don't stop me. Oh, I'm full of romance. Must be this tavern. The fireplace. I feel so poetic. I could make love to a snowman.
If that justice of the peace doesn't show up, the chances are you'll have to.
That's one of my favorite lines in the movie. I can make love to a snowman.
You know, it
in his
is peaceful
response.
here and quiet.
This movie looks like, and they say in this book, it looks like it's $1 million. Now you hear that scream, right? You hear a scream. There's a dog getting away.
What happened?
The cards didn't lie.
That's Joan Woodbury.
Wait a minute, punk. You're liable to poke your face in where it doesn't belong. You hug your fire, I'll see what this is all about.
Wallace Ford's a little bit of a male chauvinist, but it is 1936.
I can't breathe. Oh, it's getting dark. I'm afraid to die.
Okay, this is
Look
the
at those
first
marks on his
murder
throat.
of a few that
That
occur
grease dog
in
must have
this
done it.
movie. Let's watch a
They're
little bit
teeth marks,
longer.
all right.
So Silver is the big suspect here. And this is one of the guys who manages the tavern. That's his wife right there. It's Clara Kimball Young.
Don't exactly know. Heard a terrible moan from Mr. Harrison's room.
We'll take care of that killer.
Okay, we're going to stop now, Jack, all right? Okay, Clara Kimball Young is an interesting career. She was probably in her 40s by this time, maybe even close to 50, and she'd become matronly. But she was a silent screen beauty, siren. And I own a copy of the 1915 Trilby, which is based on the novel that has the Gothic novel with Svengali. And it's a pretty good movie, and she's very beautiful in that movie. And later, around this time, maybe a little bit before, she's also in the Bela Lugosi serial Return of Chandu, where she is the mother of a family. Lugosi's character, who's a hero in this serial, which is fantastic for him because he didn't play the hero often, tries to protect. So I was mentioning this film was rented, well, it was made by a small studio, and they rented from RKO to have that wonderful fireplace you saw. But usually, if you read this book, Forgotten Horrors, they talk about a $25,000 to $40,000 maximum for budgets, which were very low budget, but not incredibly low back then. I get the feeling though Rogues Tavern, maybe Katzman Had Influence, has a bigger budget. Not saying a huge budget, but it looks like a well-produced movie and is shot very well. And also has screen. They move the action with the camera, which is very effective. I love this film. I finally purchased it. You can watch it anywhere. Internet Archive. You can watch it on YouTube, probably on many other streaming services. Now, I mentioned I enjoy the banter in this movie. And let's go to another clip to just listen to some of that right now.
Couldn't you put us up somewhere for the night?
Why, as soon as they take Mr. Harrison's body out, you could have his room.
Well, I don't think I could go for that.
I'll bunk with Bill. You and your husband can have my room.
Well, we're not married yet.
I have a large double bed, and if you don't mind, I'd be very glad to share it with you.
I think that's a rather provocative
You
line,
can sleep
but
with
I
me.
mean,
You
obviously
got
she's
yourself a
talking to
bed
the
partner,
woman.
mister. Would you mind helping me upstairs with the bags? The large one goes to this gentleman's room, and the other one goes to the ladies.
Yes, sir.
I think Barbara Pepper looks a little bit like Lucille
Well, I'm
Ball in this
retiring.
movie,
Good night.
Good night.
who I
Pleasant
mentioned was a
dreams.
good friend.
Mean pleasant nightmares, don't you?
When you come back down, fix the fire for the night.
Yes, sir.
You'd better stay up. Maybe you'll be able to help the coroner.
Oh.
I think I can take care of everything. If you're needed, I'll wake you up. Good night.
Okay, we can
Good
probably
night,
go away
darling.
now. I'm giving him a kiss.
Hi, dear.
All right. Like I said earlier, in this film, they think that the dog, which is owned, I think it's a former police dog owned by the people there. They think the dog is the killer, but it's a red herring. And there's a scene where I found this very interesting, a contraption to look like a dog biting people. And so the contraption evidently was used to attack these people and kill them. Now, there is some intrigue here. The beautiful woman played by Joan Woodbury and some of the other people, they are very worried because they're actually jewel thieves, part of a gang. And they're waiting for a man named Wentworth to come, who's supposed to be their leader in getting these jewels and everything. So there's some kind of chicanery and crime going on right now. And I want to go to a scene where we learned a little bit more about Wentworth. Okay, Jack?
Oh, thank heaven you're here.
That's Wentworth.
We thought maybe you had an accident or something.
Glad to see you, Wentworth. Sorry if I'm late, Mason, but I left just as soon as I got your wire. You received a message from me? Why, yes. Something queer going on around here. We all received wires to meet you here.
That's right.
And they were signed Wentworth. It's a trick, Mason. It's a trick. Well, where's Harrison and Hughes? They're dead. What? Yes.
Oh, the lights are out.
I knew this would happen.
What happened?
Where are you, Jimmy?
Here I am. Get hold of my hand. What's going on here? Must be a fuse burned out.
I hope you're right.
Oh, now what?
There's nothing to worry about. Much.
Oh, now don't tell me that's a canary.
You stay right here.
Jimmy!
All right, I don't want to give away too much of this movie. A couple of the actors, the guy that's always stuttering, I guess for comedy effect to some degree in this film, he was played by Vincent Dennis. He's Bert. And the man in the wheelchair, who is supposed to be Clara Kimball Young, Mrs. Jameson's husband, is played by John Elliott. Wentworth was played by Arthur Loft. This movie has a lot of, it's really good because it has a lot of red herrings that you think one person's going to be it. First you think the dog, then you think somebody else, then you think somebody else might be involved, and then you think for sure you've got it, and all of a sudden it throws you a really bizarre but interesting twist at the end. I don't want to give that away. I'd love to know how well this movie did at the box office. I'd love to know how a lot of these movies do. They would play in the big cities, they'd be like the second feature. And in a movie theater back then, is the first thing you'd watch is a cartoon, maybe, when you went to the movies. Then you'd watch a newsreel. And then you'd watch a comedy short for about 20 minutes. Now, it didn't have to be a comedy short. It could have been a documentary short, a Pete Smith short back then, all these different things. And then you would watch a movie like Rogues Tavern. That would not be the main film. And then you'd have an A production or a B plus production, something like that, maybe from First National, I don't know. And if you were in the small towns, though, Rogues Tavern might be one of the co-hits of two movies, the main movies. It was a golden era, and a lot of people only associate Poverty Row with Monogram and Producers Releasing Corporation and Republic and stuff like that, even RKO in the 40s. But these small movies, these B and C movies, these films were all over in the 30s also, particularly Westerns. They made a lot of Westerns in the 30s and 40s. I particularly like Turner Classic Movies because they show a lot of these movies, particularly on Saturday mornings. But be careful, if you set your timer for a Turner Classic Movies movie that starts, let's say, 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning, I've learned from sad experience they're going to take out, they will not start at the right time, and you'll lose 5 or 6 minutes. Like this morning, last night, I love Guy Kibbe, and I DVR'd a movie called The Big Shot, which I mentioned earlier that Barbara Pepper has a small role in. But I was smart enough to know that I had to also DVR the Pete Smith short before that. I think it was a Pete Smith short. Because if I just DVR'd the movie, this is just a public service announcement if you're DVRing movies on Turner Classic Movies, particularly on a Saturday morning. Do the one before also. If I just did The Big Shot, it would have started 8 minutes into the movies. And I hate that, but I've learned from experience if you really want to enjoy these old films, you gotta DVR both. So I'm not going to give anything else away about this movie. It's just a fun film. I imagine it probably made a little bit of a healthy profit because they did get some of the receipts, even though they were the B movie and things like that. The script has a lot of surprises, as this book notes. It's a well-written script. It's better than your average C movie. And I highly recommend it. Try to watch it tonight if you can, all right? It's only I think it's about 69 minutes or so. It's a lot of fun. And so thank you for allowing us to tell you about the Rogues Tavern that starred Wallace Ford and Barbara Pepper and Clara Kimball Young, Joan Woodbury, and many others. We're Plan9Crunch. Please give us a subscribe at YouTube. And on Facebook, we're Plan9Crunch Podcast and Blog. You can like that or follow it. We're on TikTok. And we have a blog, which we're closing in on 2 million hits on this blog. It's at plan9crunch.com. So thank you very much. I'm Doug Gibson, and that's a wrap.